Hello there. I'm going to be doing a very quick card pull for some of the current energies, energy update. I haven't been doing long form readings, but I'm going to get back into it. I have been going through like just the most massive amount of clearing and energy management. I haven't been able to speak on it because I've been processing it. And in total honesty, this has been the hardest passage since the beginning of June, the hardest passage that I've ever gone through with having to manage and assimilate to higher frequencies and be somebody who does collective transmutation and feels so deeply. There's been days when I feel like I don't know how I feel like I'm gonna lose it. It is so much. And I think what accounts for a large part of that is that a lot of people, spiritual or not, are going through this helter-skelter waffleation as we expand. And if you don't think in these terms or talk about it, then you just think that life is crazy and things are falling apart. And I'm hearing it from a lot of angles. And energy workers or energy readers will know this, but there's, consent involved. It's not necessarily our job or even appropriate to bring matters of, the spiritual side into it when that's not somebody's prerogative of their own volition. So it takes a lot of unspoken energy management, and that can take a toll. And then on top of that, just my personal stuff. But there was a video that I recorded last week. I was talking about a dream that I had, and I had the dream the night after the debate, which I only watched for research purposes very briefly. Obviously it's ridiculous, and they're really just two characters on the same stage, and we remember that it's theatrical. And I've been thinking about a lot of stuff. I've been thinking about the collective apathy, specifically in America, and what we're seeing, the threat to what people thought was perfect democracy. I mean, the whole thing is crumbling before our eyes, and people don't know how to reconcile with that. And spiritual or not, just considering the geopolitical scene and how much of a power player America has been, there's a lot more that we can do than people think when we're faced with such a bleak situation unfolding on the world stage. And contrary to popular belief, it has to do with, not running away, not moving abroad, but understanding that we have the ability to change a system from the inside out. A lot of people are well-intentioned and well-meaning and have been working in politics for years and are just now beginning to catch wind of some of the long-standing corruption. And more of that is going to start to come to light. But I was particularly affected by, both of their faces and their facial expressions. But there's been an article circulating on Apple News, because I take screenshots so frequently of what is being shown to me with news and whatnot. I tend to notice the patterns with that. And the Apple News has been circulating an article from it's about the former chief of the CIA discussing high-level disguises and masks and whatnot, which is interesting. If people didn't know that, yes, the CIA uses very, very, very high-tech, completely convincing, real human hair, or these very, very thin silicone masks. You would never know if you were talking to somebody who was wearing them face to face, right up in their business. You wouldn't be able to tell. And, I'm not going to go into all of that. But anyway, so I was thinking about that. There was a little bit of residual day matter in my dream. Pardon the squeaking that's going to ensue here. Because I was in my dream in this place, in this realm, okay? And a lot of the people had these dark, dark eyes that had lips around them, almost like they were wearing masks. And I was getting out of this realm through a hole in the sky that looks like a manhole cover, what if the moon was a portal and we could crawl through it? Kind of like that. And when I exited this place, the dream was, it's been a week, I don't really remember. Lots of details, okay? But I was navigating this space. When I exited and I looked back, no squeaky. I could see that what I thought was my three-dimensional reality when I was in that world with these people who were wearing masks was actually a flat space. And if you ever played Mario Kart or Super Smash Brothers growing up on Xbox or, GameCube or any of those things, PlayStation, there was a character called Mr. Game & Watch. Mr. Game & Watch, no squeaky. And if you paused the game and went totally sideways, he was a two-dimensional character in a three-dimensional world. And what I noticed is that I was looking back on this world and I thought things had volume. I thought I could see these characters, but it was only because I was also in that world. And when I ascended out of it and I looked back at it through the portal that I had exited through, I could see that they in fact did not have as much dimension as I thought. They all laid flat like Mr. Game & Watch. And I thought that was really symbolic and very interesting because we can't even conceive of more dimensions or what that would mean. Like think about the x-axis, the y-axis, you drop in the z. There's infinite ways that we can expand upon, those levels until we merge into nothingness. And so I think that I'm going to transition a little bit. Because I've had a lot of collective messages, like they were on pause while I've been dealing with my own energy and trying to, self-regulate and stay up with what I'm learning, what I'm integrating. They're starting to come back in though, these like big downloads that are definitely for my YouTube channel. Okay, other message is about Saturn. Neptune is also going retrograde, but Saturn is more so what I would like to talk about because Saturn is known as disciplinarian. And this is a Saturnic karmic year. 2024 reduces down to 8. So all of karma, big karma, is being delivered to us through this year. And the 8-8 portal in August is going to be particularly potent because it's an 8-8-8 portal, just like the 7-7 was a 7-7-7 portal last year. And so what I'm feeling, what I'm seeing, what I'm thinking, and what my guides are walking me through started a couple days ago, continuing, and will continue as we get into these energies more. But the messages are about feeling like we have these like tendrils of like, oh, maybe that, like new ideas, new realizations around how we've been doing things. I'm seeing somebody who is like driving a moped, and instead of just those 2 ear mirrors on either side that help you navigate what's behind you, you suddenly have tons, and you're like, oh my gosh, I have so much visibility into what's happened behind me in the past. New vantage points on the same things that we've cataloged in a certain way our whole lives. And now we're able to pull that file back out and be like, I'm actually going to store that in here. It doesn't belong over there. It belongs in here. And maybe that means you're taking it out of, like a grudge file, and you're letting that person go, and you're returning that energy, and you're kind of disassembling the whole thing, and you're putting it in your own accountability file, and then you're making peace with it and you're letting it go. Or it could be that you actually do need to resolve something with somebody and you've never seen that before. No squeaky. Just for a little bit. I'm sorry. No squeaky. And I think that the first half of the year delivered us the ability to feel into those things, but not necessarily start to take as much action around them or do the changes. And you could be riddled with little throughout the past few months, since April really, little patches of guilt where you're like, oh, like I'm not able to make these changes. Don't worry. If that's where you've been, don't worry. The rest of the year is for watching yourself make those changes, but really do get serious with it now. You will feel it in the energy. You will feel more capable and more energetic to rise to the challenge of changing whatever it is that you have to change. And it could be your own patternistic behavior or habits, or it could be like a one and done thing. But the second half of the year is for seeing what started to percolate psychically, spiritually, emotionally, mentally for us into action. Make those changes now. It's going to become easier. But then back to Neptune in its retrograde. Neptune can bring us into a space of clarity by taking us through a space of confusion. But within polarity, it can also unearth, we have clarity on the one side, delusion. And within all of these energies, people have the option to take them whatever direction they choose. And when people aren't aware of what's acting on them, or they just write off all of this and they don't believe in any of it, then they could let their ego, right? We all have two wolves inside, love and fear. They could just because love is constantly flowing through you. You are love source energy, but you're also tethered to a human body with an identity that's programmed by your ego. And what we know about our egos is that they're highly programmable. So you're either running one of the two currents through you. And when we fuel those fear narratives through the Neptune retrograde, those could result in basically delusional thinking. And it's super easy right now to look around and be like, that's delusional, you're crazy, this is crazy, about whatever. But that's not going to help. Back to the prophetic messages that I delivered in January, late December or early January, around Q2 being fighting or feeding. And I know that we're out of Q2, but the messages that I delivered then were set on a timeline of what I could see at that point, as they always are. And things have shifted a little bit. So I said that Q3 would be a time of rest, but it was also because I didn't get that much information about it. So I might do some type of Q3 update because the information and the messages are coming through. But those are just things to be aware of. And the other thing with that around like taking a new approach to how we're going to do things, or rather just letting the energy show you the new approach each and every day, right? It doesn't have to be this planned out thing. I'm hearing people, talking to people, seeing people who are talking about what they're doing this time next year or what they're doing 6 months from now. And I am in a camp where things are so fluxus that it's not beneficial to manifest out a certain amount, because I like to be in the quantum now of basing my next decision off of what, becomes in the moment. Responsible adults may look at me and say that that's not how you do it. But for me right now, that's what I have been needing to do. So if you find yourself, this energy also might make people feel fairly uprooted, like there's not the level of groundedness, and that could be changes in their personal lives or their careers or whatever, their health, that's making them feel uprooted. And it's a micro macro thing. It's a reflection of the larger uprooting that's happening to a lot of our systems that are crumbling behind the scenes. And people talk about this on the internet, but like we need to remember there's so much that the public is not aware of, so much that's not spoken of, so much that happens that doesn't go reported to the masses. Like, of course that's true. Not everything that happens gets reported to us, right? We take a very, very curated stream of information in via the mainstream media outlets. And so even though it's not being reported, it doesn't mean that things aren't shifting. I have full body goosebumps when I say that, because the people who can feel into it, like it's going down. So that's good. But again, just trying to not fall into these pits of apathy and confusion in the midst of other people's confusion, and coming back to that present moment and understanding that if you're developing this overwhelm and this confusion, it's because you're spreading yourself too thin. Your energy, either your energy or, your mind is not meant to extend that much, and you're meant to reel it in a little bit, either bringing it back to the present task or just the present day, or just the situation that you're in, without trying to foresee how it's all going to pan out. And let me just think about if there's anything else. Yeah, it's a beautiful thing right now. If you are in a place in your life where you're like, I don't recognize anything, I don't know what's coming next. Like I see a boat, like a plank, like walk the plank, but you're not walking to your demise. You're out on the open ocean. You can see there's nothing there. That's wonderful. That's actually where you want to be, because you've successfully, whether or not you were conscious of wanting to or not, but things have changed so radically for you, on par with the radical changes in our collective energy, so that you're at a point of being able to create something entirely new. So don't fear that. It's uncomfortable, but you don't actually have to know what comes next. People will have varying degrees of challenge accepting that, but you don't. It's very powerful to not know what's going to happen next, and trust that what does happen next is largely in part to what you're able to bring through, that ends up coming to your reality, because we are all living in different realities. All right, so I shuffled. I'm going to cut the deck. And let's go biggest obstacle 3 cards. For some reason, that's what we're doing. Hierophant, Judgment, and the 6 of Wands. I don't know why I wanted to get obstacle, okay? These are 2 major arcanas, right? Judgment is sort of like the higher realm, like a 5th dimensional, like in the realm of thought and spirit where things precipitate down from into the 3D. That's this, right? And I'm seeing the Gatsby eyes from that valley between the East Eggs and the West Eggs and the city, the ocular doctor. Those eyes that watch over everything, right? Everything is cataloged and recorded. This is why integrity is important. This is why when you try to fool people or lie or cheat, you are just hurting yourself. There's something about attaining our success that's a little bit challenging right now because there are some serious, again, Saturnian, karmic energy rolling out to change the way that we've been doing things. This isn't at you. This isn't against you. This is for you. In fact, this is for everybody. What's the biggest advice from the bottom? And then the hidden energy that's contributing to this being an obstacle. Yeah, I was going to describe this card earlier, but I was like, it'll probably come out. If this is how you're feeling, right? This is the hidden energy, this sense of overwhelm, way too many options. Scale it back. Scale it back. Also, you don't have to, what you have to choose is a lot more immediate than you think. These big decisions can be chunked into tiny decisions. And if you don't know how to make a large decision, make a small decision in the moment that's required of you. And that allows you to stir past that moment and continue stringing them itty bitty decisions together like a beautiful garland until you have made a larger decision. And that can help us bypass this. The advice is the King of Pentacles. So it's a grounded energy, but it's also about knowing your worth. Knowing that even though this is Pentacle, worth is not about material at all. Clarify that by shuffling out. We got 3. No, we got 4, but I'll take it. Page of Swords, 5 of Pentacles, the Lovers, and the Hanged Man. Yeah, there's something about maturation. There's something, regardless of your age or what you've been through or like anything about you, there's something from how you've been in the past to how you're becoming now that's a more mature embodiment of your relationship to your own groundedness, deservingness, and worthiness, okay? Because this is being left out in the cold, having nothing. And this is a mind state. I mean, I know it's an actual material stability, but having this comes from the internal. And now there's a lot of people that are born into generational wealth, right? But they never had to experience this mindset. So if a person, most people at some point experience lack, you know, and fear of not having enough, especially in today's world with this economy, right? Everybody feels this to some degree at some point, some people more than others. But even if the mindset was something you were born with and it was passed down to you, this mindset or this mindset, it still comes from within. The Pentacles follow the internal. And then we have the Lovers and the Hanged Man, okay? And that was the clarification as well. So there's something interesting. I don't tend to link these cards together, but this can be, I was talking about how to make choices, right? And proceed. This can be too many choices, but it's also the illusion of having too much going on. Whereas the Lovers is about harmonizing, and it can be choices, but the Hanged Man is zooming back, looking again, being in a little bit of a limbo, but taking that stance in order to see things differently. So I'm getting something around being able to do this maneuver, almost like partner these two energies, the energies of the Lovers, the energies of the Hanged Man, in the moment, in order to bypass moments of overwhelming confusion. So another message coming through about that is that it could have to do with balancing the masculine and feminine aspects of yourself and trying not to over-exercise one over the other, and calling upon your ability to relax and receive in feminine receptivity and be in tune with what's coming up within you emotionally, but then also be assertive and taking action and being logical instead of emotional, right? And having those things in balance. What's the no, this is cool. Okay, what's the capstone energy for the month of July? We love it. 3 of Cups. Celebration, harmony, reunion, socialization. This is a good time. There's a staggered way that we all come into these energies and adjust to them. So a lot of people could still be feeling like I've been needing to take care of myself just like deeply. Like I've got no wiggle room to not do that, or else I will combust in a corner. So I've been doing and that's what I've needed, right? Because it's teaching me how to care for myself in these new energies. And once I get good at that, I can be more social again. And it's not so much of this touchy, sensitive passage, because we've cocooned again and we rehatched, you know? And I think that if you're still feeling sensitive, then that's okay, you know? There will be a time throughout July as we move through these energies to be more social. But don't forget to have fun and just enjoy your life and live in the moment. There's so much going on. Like, I continue to hear from friends, family, coworkers, people in my sphere about, you know, these new-ish people are coming down with cancer. Yesterday and today, 2 different people told me that 2 different people had heart attacks. One of them died. There's just a lot going on for everybody all the time. And it's a lot to deal with. And it's important to remember that as things, especially with like the public circus and the media and what we're being shown and what will continue to be shown left and right, distraction here and there and all of it. It's just noise. It wants you to be worked up and to be engrossed and to feed it. It is a system that requires your attention and your energy in order to survive. And in order to create a revolution that rebels against that, we don't have to go, you know, do anything with blazing torches or anything like that. We actually just have to enjoy our lives and stay in the moment and love one another. Isn't that beautiful? That is a serious act of rebellion in today's world. What's the biggest energy to embrace right now, please? And then I'll pull an Ascended Masters card. Okay. I like this. So it's the Tower. Embrace unexpected, sudden, rapid changes that might feel destabilizing. Know that anything that feels like a threat to you, that's your ego being threatened, your soul, your eternal nature, and what truly matters. Everything that you value can be reassembled around you after big changes, right? You can never lose what is truly yours. And we also fail to acknowledge fully in today's world the regenerative power when it comes to healing in the physical body. And then the message that I'm getting with this is kind of what I said before, because now we have a perfect pair of King and Queen when it comes to Pentacles, but balancing the masculine and the feminine, exercising of the self. And then this card, right? Putting in dedicated work, but not rushing, right? He's got a little stockpile already. And he does this because he likes to do it. We forget too that it's like a lot of people want to get rich or stable at least, or create intergenerational wealth, or do something, right? We live our lives so that we can go on vacations and all this. But we also forget that humans are meant to be at work. We're not meant to be at rest. We're not meant to sit behind desks. We used to work in a much more laborious way, physically demanding. And there's a strong avenue, just like rife with potential for manifesting what it is you want when you find what it is you're being called to do in the physical world to generate abundance, right? It's not about the money at all. It's about putting yourself and your creative template and how you're wired and how you're called into action. That's it. And then, the Ascended Masters. So what's the, I'm going to say the biggest success as of late, the biggest challenge as of late, and then the biggest teacher through this weekend. Wait, what did I just say? Okay, wait. The biggest success, the biggest challenge, and then the biggest teacher for the weekend until the next time I do a reading. Success, The biggest success is Kali Ma, facing fear. Major spiritual changes are unfolding. This is your chance to soar. And this again is bringing me back to, I asked energy to embrace the tower, right? Kali Ma is a goddess who helps us destroy things. Towers falling often create destruction, but it's the kind of destruction that creates space for what we want, what we need. You see, like, you know, she wears this necklace of skulls. It's about death and destruction in some ways. So this is the biggest success, being able to face fear. And again, know that as you acknowledge it, and I'm also being drawn to this, it's almost like a menorah candle holder in the like higher heart area of her body, okay? Oh my gosh, my phone might die. I should really wrap up, okay? You can face fear while you bring love energy through your body. And constantly remind yourself when you spend money, after an interaction, after you're with people and then you're alone, Source Creator flows through me. You're not just alive on your own, right? You are connected. There's a reason why you're conscious. Source Creator flows through you. Okay, this is the biggest challenge. Lord Shiva, transcendence. Rise up, honor your inner force. Steps are being given. Dance with the universe. Okay, so the agility of moving with these changes, and that makes sense. I mean, it's kind of rocky footing right now. And then the biggest teaching energy for the next 5 days, we'll say. Krishna, devotion. Trust your spiritual guidance. Your commitment has been recognized. You are loved unconditionally. I really like that. That's lovely. Okay. With that, I'm going to go because I know my phone's on like 2% and, or I can't even believe it's hung on this long because it was before I started recording, but I thought it would be a pretty short message, and it is for me. Last thing I'll share, I don't know if I posted this video, but I got a visit from my Arcturian soul family in spirit. They appeared to me some weeks ago and did some type of activation on my upper chakras in a triangle to align them. And I've been doing a breathing technique recently. I forget where I learned this. I learned it in someone else's YouTube video. Merkaba breathing technique, where you're imagining the Merkaba like a Star of David, okay, nested. This is a structure of our crystalline DNA, crystalline activations. It's the way as well of a lot of natural patterns of energy and our toroidal sphere and the chakras. And so if you're imagining the upper triangle and then overlapped by the lower triangle, you breathe in and you imagine the air coming in through the top of the upper triangle. And when you exhale, you imagine your exhalation exiting out the bottom of the triangle. And when you do that, it naturally activates the Merkaba structures of your crystalline body. So that's a good breathing exercise to do right now. And the other thing that I will say as a lasting note is that you have to remember to keep breathing. It's very interesting. I'll sometimes notice myself mid-task, whatever I'm doing, and I'm like, why have I started holding my breath again? Don't do that. Maybe that's not a collective thing. That's been happening to me lately where I notice that I've started to hold my breath. So don't do that. Keep breathing and move the breath through. All right. I hope that everybody's well. I don't have anything else. I'm just grateful for you if you're watching my videos. Everyone's always welcome to email me if you have questions or want to connect. And I've suspended my services. I took that off of my website. I offer sessions and card readings for people, but I'm not able to do that right now. And I will again soon. So with that, have a fabulous evening.